I have a detached garage. Can you install an EV charger for me, please? Yes, it's the classic scenario of the new builds. This one's doable though, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it. It's a nice new build, this one as well. Let me show you inside the garage. I don't know why I keep bending over like this. Just raise the camera. Why can't I open this? Can you tell I don't own a garage? Oh, got it. Inside here, we have a nice little consumer unit and an old Rolex charger. I've done one of my remote surveys for this one, so I'm a little bit lucky that there's a 6mm feed in it. I'll show you that in a minute and how I worked that out. So inside here, we got a nice little BG consumer unit. This is going, not enough capacity for the additional circuit. So that's coming out, that's staying, everything else is staying, bigger consumer unit. But there's a few things we need to take into consideration here. I have a 6mm feeding this consumer unit, which really gives me the capacity for a maximum of about 40 amps, the way this has been installed anyway. So I need to install load curtailment and CTs at different places here to ensure that that cable doesn't exceed its capacity. Basically, I'm going to be installing a Harvi inside the meter box. I'm going to use that for the CTs and the load curtailment around the meter tails, because I can't get a Cat 5 over there without digging up the driveway, which is a no-go, and I don't really want to do it. So we're going to do that. CTs inside the new consumer unit. I'm going to show you the breaker inside the house now, and what I'm going to do to rectify that, and then bish bash bosh, we're going to get this charger installed. I'll show you how to do it, set up, job's a good one. This is called a split load board. We have a main switch and 2 RCDs, and these RCDs are protecting these circuits here. An EV charger can't really be on a shared RCD, so fortunately with this, which you can do with a BG board, but not all boards, is it has this neutral bar here. That means that I can shuffle this board around a little bit. This is the circuit here for the EV charger, and I'm going to take the cable out of that and I'm going to install this double pole bidirectional BG RCBO. This is going to sit in between the main switch and this RCD, which eliminates the shared RCD issue. The cable to the garage still needs RCD protection because of the way that it's been installed, so RCD is still essential in this situation. It's interesting with this setup because this house is only 4 years old, and how the regulations have already changed within that time. So this RCD here and this RCD here is a type AC RCD. EV chargers have got to be put on a type A RCD now. So the way things have changed in that short period of time is the type of RCD protection that you're allowed to use, along with the fact that it can't be shared anymore. So these are the sort of things that you need to take into account, even if you've got a new house. Just because it's new doesn't mean that it meets the regs that we have to install to anymore. If we didn't have that third neutral bar, if I installed this RCD and put that neutral fly lead into either one of these, it will just keep knocking out because it would detect an imbalance. That is why it's essential to have that one. So now we have the main switch, the double pole RCBO, which is protecting the garage circuit, on a type A RCD, and then we have the type AC RCD protecting the other house circuits, and that one protecting those ones. So now this is separated from the rest of this. And I'm going to leave that off so I can work in the garage. Let me tell you a quick story about a guy called Mr. Bailey. Mr. Bailey was also an electrician, a tradesman running his own jobs, his business, the same as you and me. But one thing he realised is one of the hardest parts of the job isn't actually the job, it's everything else that's around it. It was that old-fashioned way that we used to do things, using a pen and paper, notepad, writing things down, all your quotes, invoices, site notes, all of that stuff that we all used to do. Hours every night doing that admin like we all do, and most of us aren't charging for it, which is wrong, but that's for another time. So he decided to fix that and build a system, a one-fits-all, solve all your problems. Me and Mr. Bailey think quite alike, and now I use his software Traderify, and it turned out to be absolutely brilliant. And it's not just for one-man bands either, it's for you and a team if you've got guys working for you. You can work out all your jobs, assign tasks to all of your lads, they can all upload notes and photos, and it's all accessible there for them when they turn up on site with the customer's info, along with the quotes, and then the invoices can be tagged on later on so you have a full job package. I've been using it for about 6 years now, so it turns out Mr. Bailey done a pretty good job because I haven't thought about going anywhere else. It's just worked for me from day one. If you're curious to try it, you can actually test it properly first with a 2-week free trial. No bank details required, and then if you do like it and you think it's going to work for you, use my promo code SOTA30 to get 30% off your first 3 months get you up and running. You're gonna absolutely love it. Back to the video. I'm not sure if it's going to be raining today, but I'm still going to continue testing my prototype, my new van canopy made of secret material. Very good. I have a pocket inside here. And the idea is to give it a bit of a bow so the rain doesn't just sit on the roof. And this is just prototype stuff, so I've just got some tent poles that I'm sticking in there for the minute. It needs to be a little bit longer, I think. So I'm going to cut one down. How much longer do you need to be? I'm never getting this back out. Oh shit. Right, there's my first problem. And then the idea of this is to give myself a peak, but I don't really know how to do it yet or what to use. But I wanted to create like a bow sort of thing. So it's sat like that. So the idea is this. We give it a peak like that. Then all the water is just going to run off everywhere. Oh, there's nothing in that one. That's strange. I thought that was lights. Right, I'm going to rip this one out then. Where's my bin? Keep that. That comes in handy sometimes. I'm putting a 6-way consumer unit in here, and I know you're thinking obviously you don't have the capacity for extra things in here. True story. Where the meter box is just over there and it's block paving, they might want a hot tub later, and they're thinking about lifting up the block paving and then running a bigger cable from there from like a switch fuse to feed the new consumer unit. So I'm just future proofing this a little bit. These are a pain though. You undo these with some grips and it feels really loose, and then you try and do it with your fingers and then it's not. Come on you, now you're in the way, aren't you, eh? Who designed this? I'm trying to avoid ripping all the conduit out, but I might have to do it. In fact, that won't be too bad to do. That'll probably slide up. Yeah, I thought so. Never use glue, did I? I say that, I'm not either. When you're replacing a consumer unit like this, with conduit drops, what I've had to do is pull all my cables back out so I can mark where they go exactly, so everything goes back the same without me having to do any more conduit work. But my pen's stuck. And then simply mark where it all goes while trying to hold it all level. If I go there, and then this one is annoyingly there. So I've got some rough marks and I'll have to make it work. Ba ba ba. Oh, I might put my ear defenders on as well. Just because I really hate loud noises. I don't know why. Just really hate loud noises. Always have. You've got to be super careful not to knock out the knockouts while drilling through them, if you know what I mean. Right, now, put these female adapters into that, first of all, and then hopefully just pop it all in. But will it fit? You go in there, you go in there. Bish bash bosh. Perfect. A little bit of squarey squarey, marky marky, drilly drilly, fixy fixy. Woo! I'm basically back to where I started when I came here 2.5 hours ago. New consumer unit installed, breaker and size changed, but now I can crack on with the EV charger. So I'm just going to make sure it's all nipped up. Always check the terminals from the factory, and then I'm going to liven this up, which means I can get some lights on back in here because I'm going to have to pull the garage door shut to run my cable over, etc, etc. So let's fire up. Bosh. No. So the plan is to clip my EV Ultra cable up and over the garage door, down the other side, and go back entry into the charger. Woo! There we go. Got a bit of a bad shoulder at the minute. Now, if you're not familiar with my channel, this is the cable that I use. It's Doncaster cables, 6mm EV Ultra. You can get it in 10mm in other sizes as well, but 6mm for this case. And it's got a Cat 5 inside it. You can get two sorts, one with one pair and another one with 4 pairs, which I always use the 4 pairs. And as you can connect up CTs and you get hardwired connections. So I just install this as standard everywhere, and I highly recommend, if you're an installer, use the same stuff. What you need to bear in mind with this cable is that there are other companies offering EV Ultra, but it's not. Doncaster Cables is the only manufacturer that makes EV Ultra. Others are, well, I've tried to use them and they're not as good, I'll be honest. Right, you will easily do. Black tethered Zappi. The reason I've gone for a Zappi today, or my customer's gone for a Zappi, is they've actually requested it. It's to do with some integration with something that they're doing with work. That's why we're using this, and obviously it's got the Harvi, which is useful for the low curtailment with the wireless CTs. Didn't cut my leg off, good. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Bigger drill bit. That little bit of effort will stop the brickwork from blowing if I've lined up the hole right. Bosh. How many times am I going to say bosh today? Let me know in the comments below. How much? Something like that. Even though I'm using a stuffing gland, I always stick some mastic around this because there's nothing wrong with belt and braces. Water is a killer of electrics. Beautiful, beautiful. This is where things start to get a little bit interesting. So my Cat 5 connected up here into CT Terminal 1, and that is going to a CT inside my consumer unit, which I'll show you in just a second. Inside here now, I've got my CT cable there, and that's going around the 6mm that's coming from the house to the garage. And we're going to limit the load, so no more than 32 amps can be drawn at any time. That is going to protect that cable coming in from ever becoming overloaded. Now with this, there's a dog barking, obviously. Oh my God, noisy dog. The 6mm that's coming from the house, that is on a 40 amp RCBO anyway. We're never going to exceed that load because that will trip out, but we want to prevent nuisance tripping from occurring, which is why we're going to limit this. Hopefully, if the charger's working and he's got some lights on, or I don't know, mowing the grass, that circuit won't trip out. Now the chances are that this vehicle is going to be charged overnight anyway. So we're never going to exceed that limit. But what I'm doing is belt and braces and making sure that everything is monitored and limited. Now the meter box in the Harvi. Inside here we have the Harvi. The Harvi has been installed because I can't get a Cat 5 from the charger to these meter tails without destroying the driveway, which no one wants to do. This CT is on the line conductor coming out of this isolator in the direction of current. I know people don't like me saying that, but in the direction of current flow heading towards the consumer unit, and that's going to monitor all of the load of the house. That is going to prevent this fuse from ever blowing by the limitations that I'll set on the Zappi. This also doesn't need any sort of batteries. You can see a light flashing there, hopefully, if this works on there. This works on induction, I think. Is that the right word? It's basically picking up a little bit of circulating currents, basically, and that keeps this ticking over. So we'll leave that there. The first thing I'm going to do is pair this up with the Harvi. So what we need to do, as you can see, no CT's been picked up there. Menu. Got to do this. Got to go to installer settings. This is only for installers. Linked devices. Pairing mode. Searching for slaves. Now go to the Harvi. And there's a pair button on it. Push that. That's going to blink blue or red. Back to the Zappi, and there we can see Harvi. So we select that. There it is. It's doing an update, And that's that. So then if we go into link devices, go Harvi, let it do its update. And then we go CT1, it says none at the minute. We're going to change that to grid. Now, if I go back to the main screen, working perfectly, the house is using 0.4 kilowatts. So that is that bit done. Next, I just need to sort out the CT that goes from this to the consumer unit and set those limitations. Within my EV Ultra, I have a Cat 5 going from the Zappi to that CT that you saw in the garage consumer unit. In settings under CT configuration, this is set to monitor. Now what that is going to do is limit the current drawn by the device, which is on the garage circuit fed from a 40 amp supply. When you have a supply to a garage with multiple circuits on it, you need to protect this cable from becoming overloaded, and that is how you do it. If you're getting an EV charger installed, don't assume that it's a quick and easy simple job, because you don't really know what's required behind the scenes. Hopefully you found this video useful. Don't forget, like and subscribe please. Hope you have a lovely week, and I'll see you next week.